Hi, here we are at Love the North. I'm Mama G, also known as Chef Gates, and this is my friend.
I'm Rochelle Rocha, and we're just delighted actually to come on the podcast, Love the North. We're going to share some pretty cool ideas with you over the course of the next, I don't know how many of our shows we're going to do here.
As long as they keep filming, we'll keep showing up.
Because we have a lot of things to talk about.
Brought to you by ltnproperties.ca. Buying or selling. Keep more money in your pocket.
Well, the thing is, I think what we'd like to highlight is that there is a pharmacy in your food. And nobody's really ever thought about that, except every pharmacist in the world is trained in that every illness or disease state is positively influenced by making positive changes in your diet at home. So when Lori and I decided to open up a pharmacy, we thought, well, if someone's going to try to make it a point of eating better, it's probably time we stop selling a lot of junk food in grocery stores that have pharmacies or in pharmacies that are strictly pharmacies. And how about if we made a front shop that featured real food and cooking? So here we are. We're actually sitting in a kitchen in the pharmacy department, believe it or not. This is a good segue into how we met.
So I was working at one of the local hotels here in town, and my health inspector came in and said, I was making Sudbury blueberry pancakes. Had it on my signs everywhere. And he said, you can't do that. I said, who are you to tell me I can't do that? He said, you need to go and meet Rochelle Rocha because she likes to push the envelope too. So we are two envelope pushers that believe in eating your local food, getting your nutrients and your local microbiomes to help your own gut. We believe in connecting our community to our farmers, because without them, we're not eating. Then we started off featuring our farmers.
Yeah.
And from there, it was like, hey, why am I switching to honey and maple syrup and letting go of sugar? Why am I switching to using the melted fat from my pork chops and my roasts in my cooking? Why am I doing that kind of stuff? And this is where it all kind of started. It all kind of got together. But I've been a 30-year chef. I've been Red Sealed. I'm a Algonquin College alumni. And I just feel through my whole career that I didn't care about feeding adults, because adults, they've already made their food decisions at this point. So if I can teach kids and teach the young how to eat and expose them to all the freshest, localist, cleanest food, at least give their little bodies a chance. And this is where I became the procurement officer here at Seasons. And this one here came up with her own title of Chief Visionary Officer. And it was kind of like a fun bullshit line that we have amongst each other, because who calls themselves that, you know? Rochelle does.
I looked it up.
It's real. The government of Canada says it's a real job title.
And the more you use it, the more real it becomes. And so I think Chief Visionary Officer is good, because you have to have a vision for something that doesn't really exist yet. And what exists as a theory is that eating well is good for you and junk food is bad for you. And in fact, I would say that bad food is like poison and good food is like good medicine. If we're going to be realistic about that, we have to really understand, what does that mean? Like, what really is good food and what really is bad food? And if we're going to call ourselves a healthcare establishment and we're going to be interested in healing people, then we really ought to be a little bit more principally aligned with the kinds of products that we'll sell in our stores. And I became interested in real food at a very critical dinner. You probably heard the story. We're at Christmas dinner with Uncle Derek. Uncle Derek is Mike's brother. Mike's my husband. And Uncle Derek is going on about Mike because Mike, of course, is from Toronto. We moved him up north. Love the north. Moved him up north. He started hunting and fishing. So we French Canadian people, we brought Mike along and we taught him all the things, and he loved it. And so we would go hunting and fishing. We're at Christmas, and Uncle Derek, of course, didn't move to the wilderness. He's firmly planted in urban life. And he's like, Mike, how can you shoot Bambi? And I'm like, well, Derek, you eat burgers from Walmart. So like, who's doing your killing? That's just the difference, right? I said, and my kids are watching this, and Andrew and Adam are like, I don't know, 6 and 8 or something. And they're having a lot of fun teasing Mike about hunting. And we're having this big conversation. But in the back of my mind, like, I grew up, my Uncle Roy was a cattle farmer in Manitoulin Island. And my parents, my mom's family, they come from a dairy farm in Whitefish. And everybody that I knew, like my uncle still farmed my grandmother's land. He raised pigs and cows, and I was a participant as a young child in harvest days. We had a huge garden. We dig potatoes, all of that. But I was working a full-time job. I was working for Loblaws. I was senior director of pharmacy operations. So, I mean, I was traveling and I was just supervising pharmacies and grocery stores. But then I realized my kids have no idea where their food comes from. They have no idea the sacrifice it makes. I mean, every cultural tradition says grace, right? We just came through Easter this weekend. People are saying grace before meal. Why do we say grace before meal? It's because if we know how much effort went into
I
it.
would say that people give thanks more than say grace.
Fair point. But still, why would we want to give thanks if it's just in a package, nameless, from a grocery store? But if you kind of know.
At the end of the day, it's still an animal.
It is. So anyways, the point was the boys had no idea where their food came from. So we started farming. And then we started.
What was your first animal?
Chickens. You got to go in easy. Everybody wants eggs. Do you know what I did it for?
Oh, I don't know.
I did it for the compost for my garden because I thought I needed to like soil amendment. I forgot that chickens laid eggs. Like
It was like the worst for your compost.
after a year, it's perfect.
Well, that's a long time to invest. Go lambs, you can use it right away.
That's what they say.
That's true.
I don't know. I have a lot of weeds now. Okay, do we want to continue this train?
At the end of the day, we both come from farming backgrounds.
It's true.
We both come from fishing backgrounds. We both come from people canned their foods, did a lot of food storage for the winter, did a lot of home baking. Buddy, I didn't know what a pita was till I was like 20. I had no idea because it wasn't our culture. We were white bread, toast on the wood fire stove type of people. But it's important for us to go back to our ancestral roots and go back to the teachings of get out in the field, go and pick your stuff, put that stuff into a jar, into a something, so that in the middle of February, you're not stuck paying $20 for a celery, that you're not stuck paying for high price for peppers that you've already cut in the middle of summer and put in your freezer. Just because it's frozen doesn't mean that you have to cook it to freeze it. Just freeze it the way it is. You know what I mean? Like, take the cores out, freeze it the way it is. When you defrost it, it's just as good. It might be a little bit softer, but who cares? It still tastes delicious. Versus going to pay $9 for a red pepper in the middle of February.
Price is one thing, but the other thing that I think is more important than the price.
Oh, where it comes from.
Well, where it comes from, and the thing is, if it's a wild food in particular, it's going to have way more
Name something.
nutrients. Okay, so wild blueberries in Sudbury, because this is what Sudbury's famous for is wild blueberries.
True.
Okay, why do we have wild blueberries? Acid rain, acidic environment, lots of blueberries. But they're really good. They're really small. They pack a punch of antioxidants, and they're like amazing. As opposed to, I could go buy blueberries grown somewhere else. Even if we buy the blueberries that come in from Halifax, the domesticated cultivars, or the ones from British Columbia, they still don't have anywhere near the flavor.
No.
And they're bigger, they're more kind of watery. And I think
Their seeds are harder.
Yeah. But the flavor is where it's at. And because before the food industry started like making science food, your body could tell by the flavor and the color and the texture of how nutritionally valuable that food was. And so the thing is picking the blueberries in July and August in Sudbury and freezing them and pulling those out of your freezer. Okay, it's cheaper because it was your own labor. Maybe your kids went with you.
Child labor is a real thing. Get them in the fields.
But it's more flavor and more delicious if you freeze the stuff that's local. Same thing.
Well, you're also getting our own rain. And what I mean by that is the rain you're getting in Peru and Colombia and Mexico is not the same rain you're getting here in Ontario. Because how rain works is it picks up from the lakes, goes into the clouds, and then drops down onto our things. So we're getting our own recycled water, which is what you really want. Because that's where all of we call them microbiomes, but it's really like tiny little bugs that are helping your gut. You know what I mean? Everybody tells you to eat yogurt, but if you just go and eat raw fruits and vegetables, you're getting just as much, if not better ones, than you are from the stuff they're adding to your yogurt.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I don't shit on yogurt because I like yogurt and we all should eat it. But at the same time, a handful of fresh blueberries and raspberries picked from the field versus, oh, here, just add some stuff. Like, fuck, I'd rather eat the fresh stuff.
Yeah.
You know, who doesn't want fresh stuff? It's better for your mouth feels.
It's better for everything. Oh. So the reason we have Seasons Pharmacy is because we really want to respect what's in season and we really want to grow what's local. So the Mediterranean diet, I love this talk about the Mediterranean diet because it's a really healthy diet.
Underrated.
It's fish and lemon juice and olive oil. And that's great. But the thing is, lemons and olive trees don't grow in Sudbury. And so then what I think we have to think about is what grows in our area that's life-giving to us. And what one of the things we could be and should be looking at is the indigenous diets and the things that grow around here and the foods that grow around here, the animals that grow around here, or pull from like Northern European climates where, you know, in Finland, it's dark all the time in winter. They have as hard of a winter as we do. What kinds of things form in their cookbooks, right? What kinds of things do those people eat? How did they turn the flavors of what could grow into nutritive things for them? So I love to actually, when I cook, grow as much local, pick as much local stuff as I can, and then try to find other jurisdictions in the world that have a similar boreal forest, let's say, so Scandinavia, right? Sweden, Norway, Finland, and I go look for inspiration in some of their recipes, you know, for what some of the foods are that we can grow here. Yeah.
So one of the things when you talk about looking for your recipes and you know, where you find your inspiration, my inspiration comes from smells and it comes from colors. And it comes from the vibe that I'm getting from people. If I see that everyone's around me is sick, I'm making a hearty vegetable chicken soup with dumplings in there because that's going to feed your soul. And then I'm going to give them some kind of citrusy dessert because I know that vitamin C is going to pack a punch. I don't care. So I feed all the French daycares in town, and I'm quite proud of that. And one of the things that I see or hear from them is when I see that they're sick, I change their diet up. I don't have a rotating diet. I go in with like, hey, the weather is this week. Where can I go? Where can I best fit this kind of nutrient to make sure that their little bodies have the best possible chance at fighting whatever's going to hit them? Because we all know your kid's going to school. It's coming back with cold. They are coming back with colds and flus and, you know, and you can't fix that with goldfish and fruit roll-ups. You know what I mean? Like so many kids I see living off this crap and I'm like, God, listen, coming from a 80s background where Spam and Ritz and the Kraft slice and the bread and butter pickles were a staple on the table, the white bread was a staple on the tables. Living the body weight that I have, I don't want that for kids. Do you know what I mean? Because as you get older, it gets harder to lose. And as you get older, you're like, oh, this is a comfort food, which is like total bullshit. So I'm trying to change what is comfort food. I want a bowl of blueberries with cream to be a comfort food versus
Oreos.
I don't need Oreos. This is for secret food.
I don't need any of that stuff.
You say that now.
I had to give all that stuff up a long time ago.
I never really liked Oreos. This wasn't a really good cookie. You know what I mean? Like I like a good peanut butter cookie. You know, my mom used to make cookies. Listen, my mom, God bless her soul, she's gone. But one of the things that she used to do, because my dad wanted sugar at night, she would make chocolate cakes and peanut butter cookies at night. So you'd wake up at like midnight with the house smelling of this. Like, of course I'm going to wake up and have some cookies and milk at like 11 o'clock at night because it was okay. And we lived by the rule of it's better to go to bed with something in your stomach because you're going to have a better night's sleep, except for cucumbers and apples. You don't eat cucumbers and apples before bed. My dad was like, no, you just don't do it. It's going to give you whatever. I don't know if it's an old wives' tale, but I never did it. And still to this day, I don't do it. Because what if he was right? You know, I don't want it to be a thing. So what we want for Love the North podcast and what we want to do is to take the little things one step at a time, not overwhelm people. I am 48 years old. I was diagnosed with fatty liver and gallstones, and they wanted to take out my gallbladder. And I was like, no, you're not you're not touching it. You can put a quack sound there. You're not touching it. I'm going to clean it up and I'm going to do it myself. And you're not going to touch any of my body parts. So what I did is I did do it. It took me 3 months. And from 3 months, I cleaned up both. And it was very simple things, which is where we want to teach you the simple things. I took out white sugar and white flour and replaced it with maple sugar and honey, maple syrup. And the white flour, I just went to this beautiful K2 milling flour that is grown in Ontario, milled in Ontario. And it's great. You know what I mean? You just got to learn how to work with it differently and get over the fact that, not everything needs to be white, because that's a thing in our culture. If the bread is just a little bit tinged, oh, it's all wheat. Can't eat that. Get over yourself. Eat brown bread. It's good for you.
Well, I think one of the things that when we met, because I always sort of had this fantasy that I'd someday have a chef or somebody
fantasized about me and made this happen.
The universe is abundant. What can I say? But we're a few generations into working moms now.
Yeah, for sure.
We're a few generations into working moms. And so...
And microwave eating.
Yes. And we used to have home ec. When I went to high school or in elementary school, we had home economics was the thing.
You could take me out of home ec.
I don't know, because you were too smart advanced. Listen to your mouth. No wonder they kicked you out.
I'm glad we didn't go to high school together. I'm
way older than you anyway, so...
You would have been a senior and I would have not liked you.
But you like me now.
I do like you now.
But one of the things I thought it would be fun to have a chef is because, and I thought a chef, there's pros and cons of having a chef, because if you have a chef, then you think, oh, I can't possibly do it because only a chef can do it. But we hire chef types in here, and we also hire higher school students in here. And everybody who works here has to cook, because cooking is easy if you start with fresh, good quality ingredients. But it is nice to have a chef, because I learned cool things like I'm not going to cut myself if I put a wet tea towel underneath my cutting board so that my cutting board doesn't slide all over the counter. I was slow to learn that. That's
2 years.
Yeah, no, 2 years.
To figure it out.
That's right.
And every
but I know
time I tell her.
So
why is it sliding, Rochelle? Why?
Because I don't have to look
because
at plastic.
I'm refusing to listen to you, Gates.
See,
that's why.
So, Love the North, this pharmacy and your food show that we're going to do. It's going to be highly entertaining. We promise you're going to learn something. You're going to have fun. This is very slippery if you don't have a wet tea towel underneath it.
You were going to say t-shirt. Yeah, girl.
A wet t-shirt. Yeah. So we're going to teach you some things. We're going to do some...
We're not going to teach. We're just going to tell you what we know, and you take it from there.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I'm not here to tell you to change your life, but I'm here to tell you, if you want to get off those blood pressure pills, I can take 4 things out of your diet. 3 months down, you're off. I can your diabetes. And
careful now. Easy, chef. Easy.
I've done it to 2 people.
Easy.
I've done it for 2 people. Let's not even go there.
Listen, but it's true
fact.
Listen.
Food is more medicine.
Yes.
Then medicine is medicine.
And that, as a pharmacist, I agree that
just to be careful for her license.
I know, I'm careful. Yeah, smart enough. Don't put my license at risk. No, but it's true. If there's a chronic, so cardiovascular disease and diabetes, not type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, is totally the way your body is handling the food that you're giving it. And some of us have a limited capacity to deal with especially sugar, but all the things processed. And so, yeah, of course, I really 100%. This is why I put a food in my pharmacy. I put a food store in my pharmacy, because I think that you can reverse these types of illnesses. Yes, you can. But you have to have
joint pain.
You have to have the right information, and you have to have the right access to products. And so we like local products because they're alive. They have a more vital life force. They have a more strong microbiome associated with them.
We know the farmers.
We know the farmers.
And if we have crappy farmers, we don't give them our money.
There are no crappy farmers.
That's not true.
But okay. In most of the farmers that we deal with, the only people who go into farming these days are the ones who are really committed, right? Because they've probably solved, and most of the farmers, if you talk to them, most of them will have a story of somebody's chronic illness that they couldn't get solved anywhere. Yeah. And they all went into farming, with no sprays and they wanted to get the cleanest food. And their motivation was, from a health perspective, most of the farmers. Maybe not
Our circle of
in our
farmers.
circle. But every city has a circle of farmers around them. And I'm sure that those kinds of farmers exist around every city.
This is
So
true.
we're going to try to introduce you to some of the local farmers, at least in the Sudbury areas, because if you're watching Love the North in the Sudbury region, we're going to talk about Three Forks Farm. We're going to talk about Verdant. We're going to talk about Terra Bellevue. We're going to talk about Click Fork, Daleu Farms.
Ooh, Ugly Barn.
Ugly Barn. There's so many. Hazel and Rosemary. We're going to talk about K2 Milling, Posh Haven Farm. Like, these are actually real
B
people.
Daddy.
Yes, we'll talk about Lucas. We'll talk about Lucas.
Got the coolest label on any honey
He does
jar
have
there
the
is.
best honey jar label, and
in my opinion, 2 years running, the best honey.
it is. We're going to have a honey tasting here pretty soon.
Well, he wins.
We're here about
Point trying.
one of these bee yards is at my place. You know that.
It's always about you. Like, honestly, welcome to the Rochelle Show.
Welcome to the Rochelle and Gates Show. It could be called the Rochelle and Gates Show. Listen, we're really
You notice how
excited.
she puts her name first?
We'll build the Gates
It's the
and Rochelle
GNR show.
It could be. If you speak first, it'll be the GNR Show. What are we going to call the pharmacy in your food on Love the North?
Love the North Pharmacy Fork. Fourchette.
Fourchette.
I like fourchette.
Anyway, maybe you can help us
Because
name
it
the
could
show.
sound kind of, yeah. Victor's trying to take the credit for this.
Victor's trying to, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a team. Listen, teamwork makes the dream work. This is what we're all about. But come on a food journey with us. There is a pharmacy in your food.
So I am at Place des Arts cooking for daycares. I'm also cooking for La Slag. I'm also cooking here for my TV show. We also do functions.
And
we do
also
special
we're doing-
dinners.
And we're doing cooking classes. So you can,
Oh, yes,
you can
I do
actually take a
cooking
cooking class
classes.
with Gates here.
Oh,
Last
we're doing
week,
a cool one.
the one, that Asian pork belly was
Oh,
so
that was
good.
bomb, yeah. Pig heads.
pig-
We're taking apart pig heads.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not
Because
everybody who does that.
If you're going to be a nose to tail, you have to love all the parts of the beast.
Except for the teeth. Everybody knows I'm not into the teeth.
Not the teeth.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
No. But we're also going to learn how to make pasta, hand-rolled pasta.
Yep.
That's the following week.
Bread.
We're gonna make
Non-sourdough bread because
No bread.
I like sourdough. I do not like making sourdough. Sourdough is like having a pet, and I have enough pets.
Yeah, it's all work. But we still
It's like
have great
kombucha.
stuff. Yeah.
I'll drink it, but I'm not making it.
And also this fall, because we are collaborating with some of the farmers, we're going to be able to bring a really awesome fermenting series in the fall with kimchi
yeah.
and sauerkraut and things like that. Because
What's the other thing Aaron wants to do? Aaron wants to do something fun with fermentation.
and we have a guy now, an artist, making pottery for us to have beautiful clay vessels.
Isn't that a fun sentence to say? I got a guy.
I got a guy, yeah.
You learned that from me, you know.
I might have learned that from you. But this is about clay vessels for making our fermented foods
Clay
in.
vessels.
So it's like a really fun
Stuff in there.
it's fun to have a community of artists and farmers and
Foragers.
food lovers and foragers.
Our foragers are. We have two super crazy amazing foragers right now
Yeah.
that has fixed my asthma, has gotten me to sleep, has helped
Yeah.
my liver.
There's,
I love foragers. People who walk in the woods and know what they're talking about. Those are who you should be friends with.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a lot of
Those-
really interesting foods that grow in our forests, and there's some really good medicinals that grow in our forests. So do we have any closing words? We're going to start with sugar, right? The first show is going to be about
I
sugar.
guess so. I guess she just determined it.
We want to do the first show on sugar. Why? Because it's the biggest thing. The first thing, if you only made one change in your diet, if you thought differently about the way you thought about sugar and changed the amount of sugar in your life, you could make a lot of progress. Love the North.
Love the North.
Love the North.
Thank you for listening to us ramble on.
I hope you'll join us. You're going to learn a lot. It's going to be fun.